10 people were killed when that catastrophic tornado ripped through a candle factory in Mayfield, Kentucky. In the aftermath of the deadly twister, some workers at the Mayfield Consumer Products factory say they were told they would be fired if they left their shifts early ahead of the storm. Employment attorney Andrew Lieb from Smithtown, New York, is joining us now with what employees can do when there are safety concerns. Thank you so much for being with us here, Andrew. Such a tough situation. But I'm curious, are employers legally able to do this even when workers are fearing for their safety?
Laverne, it's a very ambiguous question, and the reason is we don't have clear directives. What we have is OSHA saying that it's ultimately the employer's responsibility to make the employee safe at work. And they even have a page dedicated to what happens when tornadoes happen. Now, here's where we really have. There's fines ranging from 13,000 to 136,000 per an employee that isn't kept safe by the employer. So what employees should do if they don't feel safe is report to OSHA, and OSHA will investigate.
Okay, so even if the company wasn't in the storm's immediate path, what if there were safety concerns regarding their families, their loved ones who may be in harm's way? Are the workers able to avoid penalties if they leave to try and go help their families?
Probably not, Laverne, but we have to differentiate penalties and law from best practices in employment. If you push your employees too far, we see in this labor shortage, you lose employees. Now, I do know that this factory was trying to make candles. I think they were going for places like Bath and Body Works for the Christmas season, and they were under the gun. But at the end of the day, we have to respect our employees, whether it's a tornado or a hurricane or another natural disaster, and what they need. Now, what I want to point out, though, is that employers aren't personally liable. What that means is that an employee can't sue under a private right of action. They can't sue their employer. All they can look to is workers' compensation if they're injured. So the way our structure is set up is that OSHA will regulate for safety and employees can make complaints. But if they're injured, the only recourse they can get is by going through workers' comp.
What about the families of these victims? Did they have a case here? Can they take any legal action against the company?
It's a great question. So, how the way workers' comp works, Laverne, is in its exclusivity, meaning it's a trade off. If I was going to normally sue someone, I would have to show they were wrong. We call that negligent. But with workers' comp, you don't even need to show your employer was wrong. As long as you were in the scope of employment and you were injured, you could get benefits. Now, unfortunately, the deceased people, their families can get what's called death benefits. They can get a lump sum of approximately $90,000, which is nothing for a death these days when we're dealing with this. Now, Laverne, there's a second story though that we can't forget. Workers' comp only precludes when suing an employer. But what about the landlord? What about the maintenance company, the property manager? There's all sorts of other property parties that are responsible that maybe these families can go after. As we saw with Miami with that building that crumbled, we need to check out the structural integrity and why did this building fall? We know there was a tornado, but what was right and what was wrong? And I think it's too early to tell. But I can tell you that they're probably consulting the families with personal injury attorneys to see if they can get money because the 90,000 is probably not going to do enough for their loved ones.
Certainly not. Andrew, you mentioned OSHA. So, what is the role of OSHA, and at what point did they step in on behalf of employees?
OSHA is the Occupational Safety Health Administration. It's a federal organization whose job, their charge, is to make sure workplaces are safe. Think back in the day where we had kids mining or young people in factories and people would come back dead and mangled, and OSHA came in, and the advent of OSHA was what we're going to do is we're going to investigate. And when there's a death, there's actually a duty for an employer to notify OSHA. And what OSHA can do, and they've already started, they've indicated at this factory that they started their investigations. And they can fine approximately $13,000 per violation if it's a standard run of the mill violation. But if it's willful, and we're hearing this might be willful. Willful means you appreciate a risk and you actively disregard it. When they knew the tornado was
Right,
coming,
right.
people asked to leave. They were told they could be fired. if they didn't leave. That sounds like something that's worth investigating for willfulness. And $136,000 a pop adds up quickly. So employers really need to take that consideration when they're acting into the future. Nothing's going to bring these employees' lives back, but other employers can learn a lesson
Certainly
moving
not.
forward.
Andrew,
Yeah.
finally, before we let you go, real quick here, the obvious question that people are wondering is, does this apply to COVID? Because more strains are coming up, and people are wondering if they could be fired if they're worried about catching the virus.
It's excellent. The problem, Laverne, with answering your question is different states have taken different positions on COVID. As we saw in New York and California in the last week, now reinstituted having mask mandates. Then you have places like Texas and Florida that are saying, hey, employers can't do anything about COVID. So this is really a state specific issue right now until we get Congress, the federal Congress, or the Supreme Court to act. I can tell you in a state like New York, though, employers have lots of obligations to allow people to get vaccinated and to afford for their safety and their welfare. That's where I'm coming from, as a place, New York. But I have to point out, when you get into the negligence thing, it's hard to prove where someone first contracted the virus of COVID. And that's always been an issue in going after anyone if they made bad decisions which led to an outbreak.
Yeah, seems to be a lot of unknown territory. Thank you so much, employment attorney Andrew Lieb. Appreciate you joining us as always here on BNC.